So links are very important for rankings. That's why we're talking about this, but sometimes people screw things up. And so obviously PR is about relationships. SEOs, we're all about being nerds mostly, especially if you listen to what was said at the Search Awards dinner the other night. We're all basically nerds. So PR is about relationships, but SEO is about visibility, but PR is about visibility too. So PRs have tried to start eating the lunch, so to speak, of SEOs. They're trying to muscle in on our territory sometimes, I feel. And so bloggers and journalists are being targeted by both PRs and SEOs, and we're both looking at links. I mean, obviously we want mentions and we want to hear what's happening that we can link into for coverage, but ultimately we want the link, whether it's for traffic or for link building for visibility. We want the links. That's what we're all about, is basically links. So we need to be thinking about doing a good job as a PR or as an SEO, but who actually does the better job of doing outreach, PRs or SEOs? And of course there are PRs that are also SEOs, but there are SEOs that try to pretend to be PRs, and I've got some lovely examples of both going wrong. But sometimes people, and I won't lay blame here. I won't put the badness at anyone's front door, despite my personal feelings in the matter. But sometimes people, shall we say, build bad links. Whether you're a PR or an SEO, sometimes you screw it up. This is a ranking chart from somebody that decided that spamming the universe with links was a good idea. But it wasn't. As you can clearly see, it's a very bad idea to build bad links, because bad links mean that we get bad visibility. Nowadays, of course, theoretically, bad links should not result in something like this happening. And you can start to see that there was a little bit of a recovery post-Penguin, but I can say that it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to recover overnight, nor does it mean you're actually going to recover everything. You know, sometimes PRs get outreach wrong, especially if they have an SEO remit, but sometimes they just get it wrong. I solicited some fellow bloggers. I'm a blogger, so I'm on all sorts of secret blogger groups because, you know, that's what we do. And I asked some of the other bloggers there what kind of bad approaches they've had. And very interestingly, for starters, one person said, SEOs can bother to look up my name and address me correctly. If they mention money, I'm all ears, which is music to my ears. Otherwise, it's the delete button, which of course to a PR is really bad, because while as an SEO I'm willing to pay for a link and pay for coverage, a PR's job is to make somebody want to cover it and not get paid for it. So there's a different reason for us to be doing it compared to PRs. And of course, we now have people who are SEOs who behave in a PR way. So if we look at somebody like Verve Search, you can see from all the awards that they've won in the past, one of the reasons they won it is because they acted like a PR agency, but in an SEO capacity. So that's a really good overlap between the two. Of course, there are SEOs or PRs who do it well, and there are specific Facebook groups that are designed to do nothing else but reach out to bloggers. So if you look for them in Facebook, you will find them. They are places where bloggers go, where they will be happy to receive your money in exchange for your content on their site. And as you can see, they either solicit by form or they'll solicit directly to have content that's already written placed on the site. Really, it's all about, in this case, paying people to get stuff on their site. Again, sometimes it's about not paying in order to get the stuff up there by creating compelling content. But as you can see from what the bloggers are saying, it's about money at the end of the day. They want to make money. They have to make money. They're not a journalist. They're not being paid by a newspaper or a magazine. They need to make cash. So in my opinion, SEO is part of online marketing, which includes PR. It's not something that stands alone. It's part and parcel of online marketing. And whether we call ourselves inbound marketers or we call ourselves content marketers, or we called ourselves link builders, or outreach marketers, or whatever the heck we're calling ourselves these days. I really can't keep up. I am old enough now that I'm starting to say, whatever, I can't keep up with you kids anymore. It's all part of online marketing as a discipline. So in my opinion, we're all in the same industry, but we're doing different things. Of course, SEOs screw things up all the time. Oh, excuse my language. SEOs mess things up all the time. And you can see here, there are things like one company asked me to change all my links to follow and remove the disclosure. Disclosures required by law. Please don't do that, folks. Do as I say, not as I do. So please don't ask people to remove disclosure. That's a really bad thing. It is actually genuinely against a regulation that's like a law, and so you can get jail time. It's a really bad thing to do. And of course, the last one, we were contacted by an SEO wanting links removed, but this one blamed us for the company's penalty. Really? Seriously? It's like blaming the tool and not the craftsman. So please, when you mess up, own up. I buy links all the time. I still buy links. I've been buying links for years. There's nothing wrong with buying links if you're doing it for the right reasons. Do not buy a link just to rank better. That's like the suckiest reason that sucked ever from sucking. If you get no traffic from a link, what is the point of that link? And Google has an excellent piece on a reasonable surfer, but also a reasonable clicker. So bloggers are not going to just give you a link for fun. They're going to give you a link because they want money. It's all about the money. And so the way I pitch things to people is very careful. I actually make sure that I stay within the law. I phone my contacts. I also email follow them up. The way that I pitch them is I very specifically KPI them on traffic. That's right. I am not necessarily just looking for a link. I am looking for traffic. And why am I looking for traffic? There's a very specific reason. And there's a reason why there's not a slide on this as well. There's a patent that Google has put out, if I'm remembering correctly, around the reasonable clicker model. So how reasonable would it be to expect my dad, my mom was a programmer, so we can't use my mom, my dad, to actually click on a link within an article? So if we go to a blog post and we look at that blog post, how reasonable is it to expect my dad or somebody else's dad or mom or cousin or whatever to click on that link? There's several things that they're going to be looking at and looking for in that link. And that's why I KPI bloggers on traffic. First of all, Google is looking to make sure that the link is actually visible. I've had bloggers give me a link where the link is the same color as the text. No underline, no bold, no nothing. And I said to the blogger, well, how is actually anyone going to click on that link if they can't see it? And they said, well, that's the way that my blog template is laid out. And that's the way it is. So basically all links on their blog were hidden links. That does me no good because Google assesses that as a valueless link. It gives me no value because no one can see it. Now, if I KPI a blogger on traffic, that blogger is going to fail, never work with me again. So I'm very clear on this. If you don't send me traffic, you're not working with me again. Why? Because Google and I need to see that this is a trusted link. It's a visible link. It's a valuable link. I also recommend to my bloggers that they use language next to the link that actually encourages the click, makes it interesting, makes people want to click it. Again, this is something that is looked at as far as the whole context of the link and the article. Is this link something that you would want to click on? What's the language usage beforehand? Is it interesting? Is it enticing? Are people going to want to click it? Is it visible? Is it bolded? Is it a different color? Is it a bigger font? I've actually asked bloggers to make it a slightly larger font size and bold. And I've asked it for it to be click here or visit this site now, because I am looking to influence that one specific patent, but also so many other things about links. This is what it's all about. It's about influencing the way, and I've just realized, of course, this is being recorded. Oh, well, influencing the way that links are perceived. And so if a blogger does not send me any traffic, they never work with me again. If a blogger sends a low amount of traffic, I will contact them during the time period of the campaign, and I will work with them to make it a more compelling link. Ultimately, though, really ultimately, I've been online since 1985. Seriously, in 1994 and 95, the way we found our way around the net was links. There were things like link rings. Gosh, has anybody ever seen one of those? Rings where you like click next and back because they were of a theme. And that theme was the way that you found other websites that were of interest. It was the only way because search engines sucked. And pretty much we're going back to that time. I want a blogger to send my client traffic. I'd like to make some money off of the link placement too. So if it's an e-commerce site and I get a link placed with a blogger, I'd like to get some money. And so that blogger sending me traffic means that I might actually make a sale. Oh my God, placing links for the reason of sales? Whoa, I know. That's a little bit too radical. Let's move on. The law. Obviously, I have a duty and a responsibility to share with you the EU legislation that underpins the UK 2008 Consumer Protection from Unfair Trading Practices. There is also a 2008 Business Protection from Unfair Trading Practices. Both are regulations, both are enshrined in UK law. If you don't believe me, I've got some lovely, lovely links that you can use later for your edification. But trust me, reading the law under legislation.gov.uk is, let's say, a lengthy process, and you'll need more than just a cup of tea. And possibly you might lose the will to live halfway through. So make sure you have some support there on hand, just in case. You know, let's be safe out there, kids. But you can also see that bloggers have been given specific guidance from CAP, and I know Gus Ferguson worked with them on doing the new words on the blog stuff, so that bloggers had better guidance from the ASA around what was and was not allowed. But, you know, I don't want to discourage you from doing outreach. What I want to try to discourage you from doing is buying a link for the sake of buying a link. Ultimately, I would like to discourage you from buying a link for no other reason than buying a link. I know, it's radical. I'm a black hat. I'm supposed to just buy links.
Judith, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but can you please shift to the slides, which are we now on? Because it seems to be on the stable position right now.
Really?
Yes.
Are you seeing people with hands over like?
Yes, now everything is fine. Thank you. Sorry for interrupting you.
No worries. That's okay. There are links. You've got the slides, of course, on SlideShare. So they'll be up there later. You can see them all, and you've got the recording, so you know you can try to follow along. So people, waffles. Yes, waffles. Waffles are good. But outreach. Basically, I'd like to discourage you from buying links just for the purpose of buying links. I want you to buy links because they give you some other benefit, ultimately. I don't want to see anybody buying links for the sake of buying links any longer. And that means that I'd like to see bloggers who hide links not able to make any money anymore because they can't sell their links because no one is clicking. If we all come together and do this together as one, just like the bloggers, we will win. They're always saying that, bloggers. Trust me, I'm in all these groups. So anyway, what we want to do is we want to find our influencers. We want to know who is going to send us traffic that is actually relevant, that we might be able to buy a blog off of, buy a post off of, and get some link juice and some love and some traffic and maybe some customers. So I've used BuzzSumo Pro in the past. Obviously, Follower Wonk I used to use because I had a Moz subscription, but hey, we all have to move on with our lives. So BuzzSumo, obviously using the Pro edition, you can find all sorts of influencers based on a number of different metrics. This was one for a wine tourism search because I was speaking at a wine tourism conference. I'm going there in March, and I thought, well, let's look at wine influencers. Then I went to SEMRush, one of my favorite tools. I use SEMRush possibly more than I really should. And so I went there to look at what the possible places I could obtain a relevant link from if I was, well, running a wine tourism conference, for example. And so they came up with all of these relevant, related sites to the wine tourism conference that I'm speaking at. So it gave me some ideas of where I could possibly get a link placed based on the overlapping keywords with the conference that I was speaking at. But of course, you can do this for your own site, your competitor's site, a blog. You could do this for sites about cats, whatever is your poison. Don't do it for YouTube, it's pointless. But anyway, so we've used BuzzSumo, we've used SEMRush, we've used any one of a number, InkyBee, any one of a number of other tools that are out there to find URLs of places we might want to get a link placed. We've done our initial assessment, but I use URL Profiler to scrape or to collect all the information and content that I'm interested in order to get a bunch of stats that will be relevant to me in one place. I use Majestic Stats because I want to see what their backlink profile is, but I also like Moz because nothing says love like DA and PA, right? Oh yes, you know it. PageRank because I'm old school. No, it's just because sometimes clients like to see it in there. I like social information, but I'm also grabbing their email addresses and their who is information so I can contact them. Google indexation, are they penalized? And SEMRush rank gives me some really interesting stats about organic keywords that the site's ranking for, the estimated organic traffic, and whether or not they're running ads. A site, especially a blog, that is running PPC ads is somebody that I might want to look at more seriously because they're taking their blog more seriously. So I want to make sure that I'm actually doing something with them that helps me. Now, obviously, having said that there's nothing like love and nothing like DA and PA, auditing your link targets has to be about more than numbers. So yes, I'm really interested in the numbers, but I also like to go into Moz sometimes and throw people against the wall and see who sticks. Obviously not literally, because, you know, I'm not that evil, but I am evil and I accept that, but I'm not evil enough to throw people against the wall. I also like to go into Moz, throw things against the wall, see what sticks. And of course, I like to research other sites using Majestic so that I can see who they're getting links from, and I can just steal or borrow, be inspired by their people that are linking to them, and perhaps approach those people since they've linked to my competition to link to me. It's actually one of my favorite techniques because I know if they're already linking to the competition that they're likely to link to me. You know, do your numbers, get your numbers out, get your data out. Looking at who else is getting links is a very important thing. So, you know, don't just look at other people, look at your own site, because nothing is more annoying to a blogger than actually getting emailed and saying, hi, I'd really like a link off your site. Your site is awesome. I'd like to make your apple recipe that I saw. I literally got this email the other day. This apple recipe that I got here, which was a review of caramel coated apples and how you can actually use a giant apple at home in Halloween. Yeah, I mean, I'm Canadian, so. We love Halloween. Yes, maybe you want to audit the targets and make sure that you haven't already got a link off of these people before emailing them something pithy and irrelevant, especially when you get all the facts wrong. When you're auditing your links, you can also use Moz. You don't have to just use Majestic. I do love both Moz and Majestic, and not just because they start with the letter M, although the best link tools do seem to. SEMRush is coming up quite quickly as well. So SEMRush can do a lot of good, but the database of links is still a little bit more limited than Moz and Majestic. And of course, there's Ahrefs. Nothing says love to a client like a line graph, a pie chart, or a bar graph. And SEMRush is my favorite go-to place when I'm talking to clients about who we should target for links, for chart love, because I love the charts that SEMRush gives me so easily, so quickly, so cleanly within their interface. And I don't have to have a subscription to use this particular chart tool. So if you just look at the chart comparison tool, it's actually not something that's blocked by subscription, or it wasn't the last time I forgot to log on and do this. So it is available to you without having to splash the cash, but using URL Profiler with SEMRush does require a subscription, I'm afraid. But, you know, SEMRush is something that I use a ton of if I'm doing link building or just looking after campaigns. So all of that stuff comes together, and then I hope you have more than just, we have an awesome product behind you, and you're going to be pushing for these bloggers because you actually have a compelling thing, a research report, a new product or innovation that is brand new to the market, that is actually revolutionary and not just another color of pink in lipstick. Yes, got that too. Hopefully you've got something that's compelling, that's actually meant that you invested time and money, or a video. What I'm about to show you is a graph of when link building goes well, but I have to say, this was when we had a really compelling piece of content, but it wasn't just a compelling piece of content. It was pushed out using traditional PR methods. It was pushed out using paid blogger link methods. It was pushed out using a radio day. It was pushed out majorly. And during the extremely lucrative Christmas period, this is a bit old, but during the extremely lucrative Christmas period, we ranked number 2 or number 3 for the word loans. Super important for this client. This client has gone on to actually get promoted and go on elsewhere on the back of this work. It really, really made a huge difference to them. And you can see here the traffic numbers, the real traffic numbers from one period compared to another period. You can see it made a huge difference in their traffic. So it's absolutely important to have a compelling reason for bloggers to want to link to you. It's like PR, but for SEO. I know, it's crazy. Oh my God. Don't forget, it's all online marketing. So 10 ideas, be controversial if you can get away with it. I think that somebody like an Innocent Smoothies could get away with it. That client could not. Be the font of all knowledge. Do something that is really innovative, research project, whatever. Take a stand. As a blogger, you totally can take a stand. As a business, you have to be very careful about what stand you take. If you're a personality in a business, you have to be careful. If you're not the CEO, what happens when that person leaves? Share or curate content. That's a really good way to gain a lot of links, is if you become a place that people can trust to find information. Funny, of course. Prolific. Be careful with that, because some of us don't like to be spammed by constant information. Mysterious. Everybody loves something mysterious. Ooh, find out more, find out more. Start digging. Or most importantly, the really core functional reason why you're building links is that you're offering something unique. Now, I know my life is mostly about buying links, but there has to be a reason. So please don't just buy links for links' sake. If you take anything away from this talk, it is to actually offer something unique that is compelling and interesting enough for people to link to you without splashing the cash. If you can do that, it becomes easier to buy links. It becomes easier to sell into bloggers. It becomes easier to build those relationships with those bloggers. You only have to do that research 2 or 3 times, and then you'll have a large database of bloggers willing to work for you. Or just slap a Google form up there, go into some of the forums and say, hey, I want to give you some money. Would you like to take my money? And they will sign up. So that's all for me. We're doing questions later. Thank you very much.